part of your brief and as Stockport Council, we don't just need people to be more aware of climate change and aware of what could happen. We also need people to know how to act and what we can do about it. So I want to get you to play a little game. On the screen here, we have 6 activities, and I want you to just spend a minute and have a think about what you think out of these has the lowest carbon footprint through to what you think has the highest carbon footprint. So just spend a minute thinking about that. A carbon footprint is how much climate impact a thing is having. So on the screen, we have all the plastic an average person uses in a year, buying a 2-kilogram leg of lamb every Sunday for a year, the average miles a person drives in a year, the average Brit's carbon footprint annually, walking for journeys under a mile, and powering and heating the average UK house. So just have a think about what you think is the lowest climate impact through to what you think is the highest climate impact. I'm going to start showing you the answers. So hopefully you all, I think, probably guessed that walking for journeys under a mile is our lowest. We do emit some carbon as we breathe, we're carbon life forms, but it's negligible. Walking for journeys under a mile, let's call it 0 grams of carbon. Next up is plastic. The average person uses 4,500 pieces of plastic annually, but the carbon footprint of that is about 130 kilograms. Next up is our leg of lamb, which jumps right up. That's 2.1 tons of carbon every year. That's before the lamb's been cooked. Just rearing that lamb, transporting and processing it is 2.1 tons a year. Next up is powering and heating our house, which is 2.86 tons of carbon. Someone's home is usually about a quarter of their total carbon footprint. Next up is driving, which would come in at 4 tons of carbon a year. And then the average Brit's annual carbon footprint is about 9.5 tons of carbon. So people are often surprised that plastic is lower when we do this. Plastic makes up about 3% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. That's compared to livestock, which is about 5.8%, transport, which is 16.2%, but all of that is absolutely dwarfed by energy, which is over half of all greenhouse gas emissions annually. So as part of your research pack, we outlined some really high impact areas for climate action. This is what we want you to think about as you're coming up with your campaigns today. These were home and accommodation, transport, thinking about active travel, reducing car usage, clothes, thinking about fast fashion, about reuse and repair, thinking about tech, how often we buy new things, what we do with those things when we don't need them anymore, and food. So thinking about eating more seasonally, eating less meat and dairy, less processed food. So you've got the brief when you arrived this morning, some things that we wanted to get you to really focus in on as you go off into your groups. People are aware of climate change, but people don't necessarily know what we can do about it. People don't know what are high impact actions, what are effective solutions. As Stockport Council, we need to raise awareness of climate change, but we also need to raise awareness of what can be done at a local level to combat it. Something that we need you to hold in your minds, people don't want to be told what to do by their local council. Think about wherever you live. You don't want your local council to be telling you how to act. So that's something you're going to have to feed into the ideas that you come up with. And amongst all of that, make it positive, make it doable, and make it personal. What next? So after today, when we hear your pitches and the winning idea is picked, that winning team will develop their idea with ourselves as the Climate Action Now team and with the APS group. And then the winning team will pitch their idea to our chief executive and our cabinet member for climate change. And we hope to be able to run your campaign across Stockport. Thank you.